According to Kiplinger's retirement savings calculator, I would need to save a little over $4.5 million if I were to want to retire in the next 30 years. And let's face it, I've got closer to 40 years than I do 30 years before I can retire. So the sooner we can figure out what we need to save, the better off we are. And a lot of that's going to be based on your current household income and things like that. In today's economy, savings money for every facet of life is extremely important. A few ways to accomplish this are to set goals, save money at the house, around the house, as well as at the gas pump. A lot of people don't realize how much money we actually spend at the gas pump, especially with the high costs that we have in today's marketplace. By doing these things and trying to save in these little ways, it'll pay dividends in the end. Dedication to saving money will greatly reduce your stress in every stage of life. Because, as everybody probably knows, most stress comes from finances. Most couples argue over finances. So the more stress that we can reduce by saving to where we can reduce or relieve that stress, the better off we're going to be. The first thing I said, we're going to want to set goals. As hardworking Americans, we are always looking for ways to save and set money aside. So you have to look and start setting realistic goals. That's the first step. If you can set goals, if you know how much you want to set back and how much you can afford to set back, that's kind of the start. Personally, what I've done, probably in the last year or so, revamp my savings, is I try to eat out less. If you, as a household, eat out 1 to 2 times a week, normally, for myself, I have a household of 5. If we go eat, not even at a nice restaurant, let's say McDonald's, I spend $30 at a time. And if we go out somewhere, nice, or a nice sit-down restaurant, I'm probably closer to $75. So if you can cut that down to maybe eating out once every other week, you will save quite a bit of money over the course of that month. And then take that money that you would have spent on there and set it aside in a savings plan. Another thing that you can do is you make meal plans. So you don't go to the grocery store hungry. That's probably one of the worst things that you can do. Sit down, make a realistic list, and then go to the grocery store and follow your list to a T as close as possible. Sometimes you're going to have to deviate, but the closer you can stay to the list, the better off you are. That'll save you money in the long run. That way you're not making those splurge purchases. You budget everything. The amount you spend on, like I said, groceries, gas, clothing, and you have to stick with it. It's not always easy, but you have to stick with your budget. Budgets are really important when you're saving money. Another thing you're going to try to do is reduce those splurge purchases. Splurge purchases are normally not big amounts of money, but they add up really quick. $5 here, $5 there. It's not hard to do. Next thing you know, over the course of a month, you've maybe wasted $50 to $100, and then over the course of a year, that's $1,200 you could have set aside in savings. Another thing you're going to want to do is look at how much you make and then decide how much can I realistically set back without starving myself or without not being able to pay my bills. So you set back that percentage and religiously set back that amount. And you're going to find, if you stick to the other things I spoke about, the cutting back on splurge purchases, making meal plans, cutting out how much we eat out, you're going to have extra money to save that you didn't realize that you had. You have to, another thing that is important, evaluate where your money's going. So when you look at your splurge purchases, you look at clothing, you look at your entertainment, you look at gas, things that you don't have to have, but they're such a part of everyday life you never think about it. You spend the money and then you go on. Look at where all that money's going and try to cut back what you don't need. Unnecessary purchases and stuff like that. That's going to help big time. Another thing that we kind of spoke about was saving money at the gas pump. If you can reduce that by walking, riding a bicycle, and you're getting healthy exercise. A lot of people don't realize how much they can save by cutting out all the unnecessary trips to the gas pump. According to research and different surveys that I read, the average household spends about $368 a month on gas. So I kind of tracked that for a couple of months to see where I fell into that range, and I probably spend a little over $400 a month as a household. So you can see unnecessary or extra trips to the gas pump that you might not need to make is going to save you a lot of money. $400 is a good little chunk. So if you can cut that in half, let's say you're going to go to the grocery store and you're just going to get a couple of items and you don't live far, maybe think about bicycling or walking. Little things like that. It'll actually save a lot of money. The same when it goes to work. I don't live too awful far from work, so what I try to do as often as possible is walk, and that cuts out a lot of my spendings at the gas pump, and that saves a lot of money over the course of the year, especially when you add up how much you actually spend. Another thing is try to save money around the house. There's a lot of little things, hidden things that we can do around the house that we probably don't even realize. Some of those things are going to be open your shades if it's sunny outside. Shut the lights off and open the shade. Let natural light kind of come in, and that's going to be one thing that does help. Wash your clothes with cold water if you can. That way you're not having your hot water heater run as much. A few other things you can do. Put your clothes out on a clothesline. Try to do that if the weather's good. Just let them naturally dry outside. That'll save you money too as far as energy goes. You can also plant a garden, and especially in this area we've been blessed with probably some of the most fertile soil around, so use that to your advantage and plant a small garden if you have the space. And then another thing you can do when you grow those vegetables, you can in turn can those, and then you have food, canned stuff that you can use all winter long. Save more money from going to the grocery store. Water. A lot of people are drinking water. Instead of buying the bottled water, get one of the inline sink filtration units for pretty cheap, and then you get the reusable bottles and reuse your bottles. That cuts back on the bottled water expense. I drink a lot of water, or I try to, and that's one thing that really adds up and you don't think about it until you stop and look, and you could save a lot of money just by doing that. Another thing is in the summer months, take advantage of grilling out. Anytime you can keep your oven or stove from being used, you're going to cut back on your cooling bill. So that's going to run less, and you're going to save money that way. A lot of money gets spent on utilities that you don't think about. So now, there's a lot of benefits to saving money as well. You can save for emergency situations. So if you have medical emergencies, unexpected family emergencies, death in the family, unexpected automobile expenses, you kind of have something set back, so that stress is kind of relieved. For example, I was on vacation in Tennessee just last month, and my vehicle started having problems. That cost an extra $1,500, but I wasn't really sweating the money. I was able to just take it in and get it fixed because I had that set back. Had I not had that set back, it would have been extremely stressful. So that's just one example I can give of how important it is to be able to set that money back. And by setting that money back, you can also save for quality family vacations. Vacations are extremely important. You work hard and you build stress by doing that. So it's important to get away and have a quality family vacation. And the more you can set back, the better that's going to be. And like I said, that's really going to help also with the reduction of stress. Also, by saving, you're setting your family up for the future. Not all of us have children right now, but eventually most of us probably will. By saving money now, you can set your kids up. You can allow them to go to college and come out debt-free. I know personally I'm going to have a bill that I have to pay until my education is paid back. But by saving, I can also be able to pay a lot of that out of pocket right now as well. So that's, again, one of the little things that I can do to reduce stress, and then in turn set my kids up for success in the future, and that's really important. Another thing, like I said when I started out, is retirement. I'm almost 40 years away from being able to retire, and I know if I were to, like I said earlier, retire in just 30 years, I'm going to have over $4.5 million set back, and that's based on my current household income. So $4.5 million to save in just 30 years, that's a lot of money. So the sooner you can start investing and putting that money aside, the better off you are. It's never too late to start saving, but the earlier you do it, the easier it's going to be for you. The less you're going to have to try to put forward all at once. So in conclusion, we talked about different ways you can save money and the benefit from being able to save money. Again, the biggest benefit being a reduction in stress and just overall happier household situation. So, thank you very much.